up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Bad Catholic Dads podcast. I am one of your hosts, John Perez, alongside the doctor, Mr. Derek Rogers. How's it going, Derek?
Man, it's fantastic. And you know what? We're in a good season right now.
What season are we in?
We are in the Easter celebration season,
Yay!
John. Oh, congratulations,
Happy Easter, Derek.
Happy Easter to you, John.
Yeah, congratulations to everyone who made it through their fast in one piece. Derek, including yourself.
Yep, here we go. Ready? Here it is. Let's see here. Here we go.
Yeah. See if we can get it on. Oh, one of the greatest noises in the history of mankind.
Now, it's you know what I had to do. This is my first one of this season. It's it's the classic Mountain Dew throwback.
What are you drinking?
It just says Mountain Dew
Mountain
throwback.
Dew.
Real sugar,
Okay.
real good.
Nice.
I didn't have a brewski on me right now, but I had to do
Nice.
that.
Well, that's okay. That's fine because it's the first episode after Easter Sunday, and so we want to introduce to the listeners our Bad Catholic Dads drinking tradition. Every episode, are you down? I don't know if Derek's down, but I'm definitely down. Every episode, we'll drink something.
Yeah, we'll have something
together, and we'll talk about it to the listeners. I am drinking Smart. It's probably my favorite beer of all time, Derek.
Ooh.
It's born and raised. That's what it says on the bottle or on the can. Born and raised in Norfolk, Virginia, so where I'm from. It's called Smart Mouth. It's a local brewery in Virginia. It's a farmhouse ale called Alter Ego. It is very, very tasty.
I have not heard of that.
I have a bunch of them in my fridge because you can only get them in like Southern Virginia, where I'm from.
Okay.
And I don't know. That's a lie. That might be a lie. You probably could get it like in your local Harris Teeter or something, but I always get it when I go down as like a tradition from like a Harris Teeter down there or from the actual brewery, and it's very good. It tastes like an IPA, but it's got this ale. It's more like an ale, so it's very good.
Yeah, I think Newcastle might be my favorite. That brown ale. Something about that is just really good. And yesterday for Easter, we went over to a friend's house like after dinner, and that was my first beer of the season. I had one Coors Light.
Nice. What was your first drink after?
It was water. To be honest, it was water.
Yeah, you just had water.
Yeah.
What about like your first non-water drink?
It was my wife for like our brunch had the sparkling cider and orange juice. So I had those. It's so
nice.
My taste buds have been reawakened.
Yeah.
When I have that sugar or any of that flavor stuff, it's like, whoa, that is strong. And I really want to stay on that water thing as much as possible.
At least like
this
more
Mountain
water,
Dew is not going to be
water.
a normal thing. Exactly.
Cheers for Easter. You know, Christ is
Cheers.
risen. Cheers.
Alleluia. Oh, it's so good saying that A word again.
Alleluia. I gave up soda for Holy Week, Derek.
Oh,
To like pit
a
myself
specific
down.
Holy Week? Give
A
up?
specific the Holy Week fast, and it was tough because my wife was having some soda during the weekend. I was like, can I just like smell it for a second? Just like smell it. And then after yesterday, I was like, can I just get like a tall glass of Dr. Pepper with a straw? So
Man.
very good. Anyway, let's get right into it, Derek. Happy Easter to all the listeners. If you don't know, we are the Bad Catholic Dads podcast. We are creating a podcast that is on fatherhood, that is real, that is authentic, that is crazy. And so we hope that you enjoy this podcast, and we hope that you are, along for the ride. We talk about many things. Sometimes we talk about the faith, and other times we talk about fatherhood and how it's going, and entertainment and a bunch of different things. So hopefully you'll enjoy it. And our episode today, episode number 5, Derek. Hey, Derek, we've made it to 5 episodes. How awesome is that?
High five.
High five. High five.
Yeah, there you go.
All the way from Alexandria to Manassas.
Very good. Episode 5 we're a day late.
Episode
but it's
5
because of
is a
Easter
day
Sunday,
late.
Easter Monday,
Yeah, it's okay. People can deal with it. I'm sure they're dealing with it.
It's good. I had
did you have work today?
Kind of. Yeah, I'm getting
so
ready for
surprised.
this retreat
you're
coming
working.
up. Yeah, I've been working.
When is your retreat?
It's this Friday. So
And it's
coming up.
what kind of retreat?
It's a 3-day retreat for high schoolers.
Okay.
Yep. We're going up to Camp St. Charles in Maryland.
Oh, nice.
It'll be really fun. It'll be really fun.
Nice. Ooh, what was I gonna say? I don't even remember. Oh yeah, episode 5. This is episode 5, and we're talking about Easter, our Easter kind of a recap, and we're gonna have a fun topic, shortish topic at the end of the episode, or the second half of the episode. We're gonna have the first ever Bad Catholic Dad Saints Bracket Challenge, so stay tuned for that. Derek, let me start off with the question: how was your Holy Week, man?
Holy Week, it was a really strong, nice Holy Week. For Wednesday into Thursday. Wednesday, my wife had been saying, you have to read the Silence book that you bought a while ago, because she read it a few months ago after I had bought it, and I'm like, I got to do it. So I started reading it on Wednesday, finished it on Holy Thursday, which was a good thing, because it was the whole Last Supper, and Judas Iscariot is kind of a featured character in the book. It's someone that's referenced all the time. So I was able to read that over Holy Thursday. Yeah. It was really good. And then we watched Silence on Holy Thursday. We also got to go to Mass Holy Thursday and Good Friday with the kids, and they were fantastic. They did such a great job without having major meltdowns. Holy Thursday, though, we did not have washing of the feet at our church.
What?
Wow. My wife, she was preparing my kids for the Holy Thursday, the rigmarole of what's going to happen. So they kind of said, so they can keep an eye out for it, and stay interested. And it was like, we just felt like liars, we're like, where's the feet washing, Mom? And they just didn't do it. We have no idea why. Because Good Friday, it was the veneration of the cross. And with St. Andrew the Apostle, where he went, there are so many people there that it just takes a very long time to get through the procession to kiss the feet of Jesus. So it was such a long time. And I'm like, why would we have missed out? I don't know if they were just saying, hey, you're going to be in church long enough on Friday. We'll kind of cut it down so we won't have washing the feet on Thursday. I have no idea. It was so different not to have that aspect. But then we didn't do the Easter Vigil on Saturday. I felt like we pushed our kids through enough with back-to-back masses. They were just really good. The three of them, they were really working hard at being good. So we didn't go Easter Vigil, but we went on Sunday morning, and we had to wake up early. Our mass was at 8:45.
Did you play music or
a.m.
no? Not this weekend.
I did. So we had to wake up at 7 a.m. to do our Easter traditions that we're going to be talking about in a second.
Nice.
Yeah, but we went. It was a beautiful day, and then we went to our neighbor's house.
Very nice day.
It was really good. How was yours?
It was interesting. It was my wife and I made an effort to pray at our house, because we as the listeners know, we have a newborn in the house,
and that is tough.
She's 2 weeks old now. We survived to at least 2 weeks of her, and it was really tough, Derek. Like this past weekend or so has been super, super tough. As you know, with a newborn, you're waking up every couple hours.
It just kicks your butt a little bit.
Yeah, it puts you in a different mindset, and my wife and I have to remind ourselves constantly to just let's just take a break. Like take a break, or you go do something, or just breathe, I guess you would say. And you probably will hear her on this podcast. She's in the background right now. But actually today, my wife hasn't been able to go out a lot. So I was like, why don't you just take James, our son, and just have a mommy son date, and just go out and go get some food, and I'll watch Lucy. But yeah, it was tough. Holy Week was tough, especially because we actually did not get to go to Holy Thursday or Good Friday. We were planning to, especially on Holy Thursday, Good Friday or Holy Thursday? Good Friday. We were planning to go on Good Friday because it was in the middle of the day, which is much easier for us than at nighttime, the Holy Thursday Mass. I think Good Friday at our parish, in many parishes, I'm sure, 3 p.m. Service and Veneration of the Cross. Okay. And we were planning to, and then around 1:30, 2 o'clock, it was it was just crazy time at the house. So it was tough. So we were like, all right, well, we don't get to go to Holy Thursday or Good Friday. We did some of our traditions at the house, which we'll get into. And then we were just let's just save all our strength and all our gusto and everything we have for this Sunday. So that was our Holy Week, Derek. But it was good because we did get to stay kind of quiet at our house, which is part of the Holy Week in itself. So yeah,
it's just tough, man. With a little baby,
oh my
it's
gosh,
very difficult
so
to do
tough.
those. I mean, it's difficult enough with the 3 kids that it can actually. They listen somewhat, but a baby, they just are. There is no logic. There's
you're on
no
their
logic.
time. You're on their time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you are not on your own time. You are on their time. But yeah, no, it's been tough. But it's also like my wife and I were just talking yesterday, like in the car when they were sleeping. For like when she was sleeping, she hates the car, Derek. I don't understand. Anyway,
She's not used to it yet.
James loves. Yeah, she'll love it. James loves the car, but she like hates it. Like unless I'm going like 60 miles an hour down the freeway. I think that's like the minimum speed she likes when she can just like nap. But for 10 minutes on the freeway yesterday, my wife and I just looked at each other and we were like, "Do you hear that?" I don't hear anything. It was really nice.
It's beautiful.
And then, the minute we said that, of course, like, wah,
Yeah.
But no, it's been tough. It's been really tough. So please pray for us, like with a newborn.
Yeah,
and then,
especially you getting some sleep, John. You need some sleep.
Gosh. Yeah, I was just telling like Derek. I was up at my wife's been having the grunt of it, in the middle of the night.
Brunt,
and then or the brunt of it, and she wakes me up and she's like, "All right, your turn, Tag." And so this morning I was up at 3, fed her, changed her, got her back into sleep. But by the time I got a little bit of shut eye, it was like 6:30 or 7:30 in the morning. And
so wonderful! Like, I'm so excited when that's.
Are you excited for that, Derek?
So excited! Thank you.
Excited?
I'm gonna make sure I hug my pillow tight in these next couple nights. To
You've
really
got
enjoy.
it. You've got 3 kids, and then your newborn on the way. So
yeah,
that'll be.
Those are the scary ones. Are the newborns? They like you said, they follow their own rules.
So we'll all be patiently waiting for your stories in June.
Yeah.
Derek. Anyway, favorite memories. You have it here written. Well, let's just talk about Easter Sunday.
Yeah.
The big day. How was your Easter Sunday? Like, what'd you guys do? Did you guys do anything fun? I'm sure you guys went Easter egg hunting. How was it for your family?
Easter, and this is something you're gonna really look forward to, because James isn't quite old enough to really enjoy everything of Easter yet, But so
yeah,
you're gonna,
not quite.
By next year, it's gonna be so much fun for you.
I'm eating all his candy now. So
as every good father
next
should
year,
be doing.
maybe next year or the year after that, he'll catch on to me.
My kids in this household, and my wife is a big reason for this. For any saint like big feast day or any big thing, like they get so excited, and Bethany preps them so well about what's coming around the corner, and we always talk about why we're celebrating Easter. And we had to wake up early because I had to go to Mass early to play guitar for Mass, so we had to have practice. So we woke up at 7 a.m., and the kids were all excited. I had to wake up Blaze.
They were excited for that, waking up at 7 a.m.?
Are you kidding me? They would have woke up at 3 or not gone to sleep at all. They're just so fired up.
It was like Christmas.
Yeah, sat at the top of the stairs, and this is the first year, and this is something we're going to talk about. The Easter Bunny hid the baskets. And
what?
Usually they're on the table. At least that was my wife's tradition growing up in California. Mine was doing the Easter baskets where we find it. So the kids went and found the Easter baskets. It was really good. Mom and Dad, we both found ours. And after that, it was just kind of like, okay, I got to go get ready for,
So you guys do Easter baskets then?
Yes. Yeah.
Have you always done Easter baskets? That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, we've always done Easter baskets.
Derek, I want... Yeah. Go ahead, keep going.
No, generally... This is the first year where they've been hidden, but this is the first year that they're on the tables.
That's awesome.
I'm sorry. They're usually on the tables. This was the first year that they were hidden.
They've been
hidden.
Derek, so my family, growing up, we've never done Easter baskets. I don't know what it was.
No,
we just never did it. Never had Easter presents.
Really?
Never did Easter baskets. Now, I have my own family, Derek, now, which is pretty awesome, right? And my wife and I don't think my wife... Have you ever had Easter baskets? She said she's never had Easter baskets as well. Now, Derek,
are you serious? You both have been...
Yeah.
Wow.
We've been, I guess deprived. I guess that's the right word. Derek, I want you to sell us on starting the tradition of Easter baskets in our family. Maybe that's something that we can do.
Yeah, it sounds good. Well, look.
Why should we do Easter baskets, Derek?
The main thing is every kid has their own. I've had my own Easter basket since I was a kid, and I still have it. It's like this big Easter basket, and it's always this kind of preparation. I mean, you could think of it as the tomb, and it gets, it's emptied out, and then it's full of joy and everything. Even though the tomb is empty, Christ now is back in the world. So you can use whatever metaphor or symbology that you want with the basket. But one of the main things is it's just this fun, like the loot, it's just getting that loot. Ooh. And so there'll be random things in each basket, just
like
some
what did you
candies
guys have in your
that.
Easter basket for your kids?
Sometimes there's like DVDs in it. If we're really lucky, sometimes we get some DVDs. There's just some maybe leftover things that we didn't have at Christmas or something like that.
Is it like a Christmas kind of present thing, but for Easter?
Not really. It's just we have like for ours this year. We had like there was really great Starburst jelly beans in there. There was Nerd Ropes. You get your chocolate rabbit that you usually want.
My Easter Reese's eggs.
Yes, those were in there too. My wife loves those. And these baskets, they're your own personal stash. That is one rule of Easter. You do not take someone else's Easter basket stuff, unless, of course, you're the father or mother, and then you get the parent tax,
Right, exactly.
But those get hidden around, and, that's the first initial wave. You find the Easter baskets. You have that. You get some goodies. Maybe there's, like, special notes in there and stuff. And then later in the day is the Easter egg hunt. So we've always done one in, both kind of things. But so your basket is your thing. Once you get those Easter eggs, you kind of open them up, and you dump them in your basket, and that's your like.
Do you use
just
that
stash.
Easter basket that you get for the Easter egg hunt?
No, that's what my kids did this year. We got back from church, and they dumped all their stuff out. Like, let's go get these eggs. They saw them all out in the front lawn and back lawn.
Cool. Maybe that's something we'll do then.
And I'll tell you what,
I think they're cool.
It's fun to have that. It just is. It's a really good time just to find like these extra like little things, and also it allows you to be creative about however which way you want to do it.
Right.
My daughter this year was just really just cute with everything. Kateri just was so excited for it. She was leaving notes for like the Easter bunny. She left carrots out this year.
Oh, so that's the thing. You leave carrots and
it's not.
vegetables out.
I don't think it is. I mean, you know how with Santa you leave milk, but
I saw actually on my Facebook. I saw someone else leave like carrots and celery out for the Easter bunny.
Yeah, I think it's a go-to because a lot of people are leaving carrots for Santa as well. So I guess carrots are the all year. Thanks for coming to our house and giving us stuff.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
then so that's what we have. We have the baskets. I think it's a great tool to have for the candy that's left over for Easter. You have a specific spot to put it, and my kids love it. They have their specific Easter baskets. Kateri's was in the washing machine. It was hidden in there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, mine, the Easter bunny hid mine in this drum box that I have. Like it's a soft case, and my daughter actually found it for me. And my wife's was in the oven. There's all these great spots you can have for hiding in. And then
that's interesting.
We went to mass on Sunday. And
cool.
Played music, and we got to say hi to people. Some people gave Blaze candy, and he got it all over his nice vest he was wearing. And my wife was sad because we usually take pictures right after mass together, and he was like candy all over it. And she's like,
your kids look so cute, especially your girls.
Yeah, they all, and that was, my mother-in-law in California. She made those from scratch, and this year too, she sent one. Another dress for the American Girl doll that my daughter has.
Right.
The American Girl doll is Lily, and she has her own dress now. So all my kids were like, they were all matching with stuff. So they, my mother-in-law, she does a fantastic job with just making her own dresses. And then afterwards, we have our egg hunt. So
is that at church or is that
no, just at home. Just at home.
Okay.
We had about
your own with your family, like just
we almost had like 100 eggs. This year there was too many plastic eggs.
So cool.
But they were filled with Sour Patch Kids, gummy worms, stuff like that, and they were hidden front and backyard.
Do you guys do money in the eggs?
Yeah, there was a couple eggs with money.
Sometimes we do the money or
That's cool. So and then after that, they had dumped all their stuff out of their baskets, and then they loaded up the basket and they brought it in. So they've been. And Sunday we don't have any rule about. You're just like, go eat your candy, eat as much as you can, and it's we've never like stopped them from that. And the same thing with Halloween, like this is the day, eat as much as you want. And
right.
There's times where my kids will lay in the bed with their eyes open, like I can't close my eyes, and it's like, well, that's the sugar rush. But they're doing well today. I thought they'd be collapsing a little bit, but they're good today.
Good. Do you guys have a lot to do today, or?
It was
with the kids,
just like kind of getting ready for stuff and just But so those are our traditions that we had. Now,
did you guys?
I find it so interesting. John, that you've never done the baskets at all.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. My parents, we never did it. Well, I don't know. It's interesting. We just never did it. I
want to tell you, we talked to some of our friends about like if the Easter baskets they had were always on the table or hidden, and to be honest, it's completely split. And I'd be curious about our, listeners, what they did as kids. Because half the people I talked to were like, oh yeah, the Easter Bunny hid the Easter baskets and we always had to find it. And the others were like, no way, that's dumb. Like, why would you hide the baskets? So it's very split on, what happens with that.
I think it's kind of cool that you hide the baskets. It adds a little extra funness to it, you know?
My daughter was so worried. Like, I had to talk with her because she's like, Dad, I don't want the Easter Bunny to hide my basket this year. I'm like, well, why don't you? It's really fun. And she's like, I don't know, but what if I don't find it? And I'm like, well, the Easter it'll be hidden in a spot. You could find it. It'll be okay. And so she kind of was like, okay, you know what? I'll give it a try. So, we tried it this year and they really enjoyed it. So we're going to be doing it again next year.
That sounds fun. We might have to do that. That's cool. It's almost like it kind of puts like when Christmas you have to like you see the presents and like you can't like open until Christmas, and it's like that surprise of just opening a present. Yeah. Well, Easter basket you can't really wrap up in a present.
No, exactly.
Or like in gift wrapping paper. So hiding it is kind of the same feeling of that that gift wrapping paper you have to rip off during Christmas.
The awesome thing too that I like about the Easter eggs and Easter baskets when they're like running around and looking for them, it is, to me, it's an interesting correlation between when St. Peter and the women, everyone's rushing to check out the tomb, and they're running. And to me, it's always a fun gospel because it's so frantic. Like, people are running everywhere, and it's always like who's gonna get there first, and it's told who wrote.
Did you see my post from yesterday announcing that we wouldn't be on for today?
Oh, I did.
I love that gospel reading so much.
Yeah.
It's when like Peter and John are running to the tomb.
Yeah, and
it just like mentions like really quick and slight that like yet Peter or like that yet one ran faster than Peter.
Yeah, exactly. Peter like, might have been a little tubby. Who knows what was going on with?
It's like the biggest troll of all time. It's
no,
like
I know. It's just a slight to him.
Like for billions and billions of people to hear for thousands and thousands of years. I love it.
You can't cut a break. Yeah. But I really enjoy just kind of that excitement and energy on Easter morning. It feels very life filled.
It does. It does compared to like Holy Thursday and Good Friday, especially. Right? Like
yeah,
especially or Holy Saturday too.
And that's a beautiful thing too. Like Good Friday to see the barren altar and the empty tabernacle.
Oh my gosh!
And everything, and all the statues covered up. It's to see Easter Sunday, to see all the flowers and just explosion of beauty. It's fantastic, and we really appreciate that. My kids love seeing all the flowers, and that kind of fun and exploration and excitement with the Easter eggs really helps amplify it. And we do make sure, like, I'm like, so why do we celebrate Easter? And they both answered correctly. Like, I went separately for each one. They're like, it's because of Jesus, and he died for us, and he rose today. And I was like, okay. I'm like, is it about the Easter Bunny and candy? No, it's about Jesus. Good. Okay, right. We'll just keep going with that.
Yeah, so. Exactly.
But, you're in a good spot because you have the potential to make any tradition that you want now because you guys are starting fresh.
And I was thinking about, like, the Easter... Like, I was, like... We went to Target, I think, a couple days ago, and we were, like, looking around to get an Easter basket. Not an Easter basket, but like a basket for James to pick up his eggs and put them in. But when we were going down the aisles, I kept seeing all these like pre-wrapped Easter baskets.
Yeah,
right? Like and that's I'd rather customize them because it sounds cool. Like
exactly
if you like, especially if you know the person and they like this or that, you can just like throw it in there. But no, it sounds cool, and maybe that's something. I don't know.
Did you have certain Easter traditions in the Perez household that
growing up I don't think so. I know that my wife had a lot of traditions growing up, and I've kind of like adopted them.
Yeah.
As our relationship has, as we've gotten married and stuff like that, as we've dated and gotten married, one of the things we do every single year, and I don't know how it's going to look going to the future with little kids, but my wife and I, ever since, I don't know, we've been dating / married, we've always watched The Passion of the Christ on Good Friday.
Oh, that's so draining. That movie just
it really is,
me.
But it's such a great movie. It
is
a great, like, I don't ever think that there's going to be a more perfect, depiction on the big screen the way Mel Gibson depicted, The Passion of the Christ, And one of the scenes, like, and every year that I watch it, I'm like, I get something different. So this year, one of the coolest things that I saw was like the Eucharist in the Passion. during Holy Thursday, during the institution of the Eucharist, of course, as we know it, that on Holy Thursday, Jesus instituted the Eucharist, right, and the priesthood on Holy Thursday. And in the movie, when Jesus is getting crucified and when he's on the cross, or when he's getting lifted up on the cross from like the ground to where he's gonna get like put on the hill.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they flash back to when Jesus was lifting up the bread, and he says, "Take this, this is my body,
Mm-hmm.
whatever." And then Mel Gibson like geniusly, like as Jesus was lifting the bread up, the host up, Jesus on the cross is getting lifted up at the same time, and it was like this awesome moment that I recognized. I was like,
yeah,
wow,
that is really good. And the power of film to have those two moments, because we can do it in our imagination and we can imagine it, but to see it when someone is doing it on screen is really,
what a
really
great
powerful.
movie, though. I remember watching that movie like, oh my goodness, 2005? 2004 maybe when that movie came out. I think I was like in middle school, high school maybe. No, probably middle school. I remember being in the theater, like we watched it for like a youth fellowship kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember just like, I couldn't even get into the movie. We had to have like many people who were like 18 years and older to like be with us.
I mean, that was, I
remember bawling at the end of that movie, like as a kid.
So many people. Yeah, that was, it just left me feeling so drained. And not in a bad, well, kind of in a bad way, but it's just like, you really have an appreciation to see the physical suffering that went through, because my depiction of the Stations of the Cross was always the stations I see on the wall around our churches, and they're very clean, very, very, I don't know, gentle. And this was horrendous, and it gave me a new appreciation. I know a lot of people say that, well, it's way too violent, and I think they're right to a certain point, but it makes me appreciate it because I'm like, wow, it really was awful. It
really was, right? Yeah. I'm two scenes that always like, shoot me in the gut. Of course, is when Jesus is getting scourged, and they like use this like nail whip.
Yeah.
Oh
my
goodness! Oh. Like I still to this day, like being 27 years old, I still kind of like look away. During that part,
it's rough. But what's really great? We don't have to even think about those right now because he made it. He rose from the grave. And so I'm curious, like, what was the rest of your Easter day then? Because you went to church.
Okay,
what time did you go on Sunday?
Oh my goodness! So we had to like get ready like 2 hours in advance with the baby. It was crazy. Like my wife had to go get. I went to go get ready, and she took care of the kids, and then I had to get ready, and then she took care of the kids, and then we had to like one-on-one defense to them to get them ready for mass. But then we still were like 5 minutes like. We were 5 minutes early, but in Easter time, that's like late. You're already kind of late if you're like 5 minutes early. You
lose your normal seats where you sit.
Yeah. So the funny part is like we have this newborn, and we're trying not to like be in like a lot of crowds with her because she still hasn't got vaccinated, and so like we don't want her to get sick and stuff like that. So we get there like 5 minutes early. I found a great parking spot, probably my favorite parking spot in the whole thing. It's in the parking lot. If you go to St. Rita Church, you probably know what I'm talking about. But if not, it's in front of this basketball hoop that I like parking in front of. So, so I don't know. It's just like the special spot to me at that church. And so we get there for like a couple minutes early, and we go in, and of course it's like packed to the teeth. But we find this spot in the middle that's a little bit open, and she's in her car seat, and my son's with us. And then we sit down, and my wife is like, I don't think we should sit here. There's way too many people here, and it's going to be crazy if we have to go out, right? And so we're like, all right. So we leave, and we sit in the back, like in the narthex, because they have like overflow seating.
Yeah, exactly.
With like foldable chairs in the narthex. So we end up sitting back there, which was actually a good call on my wife's part, because we did have to get up and take her out and carry her and do a bunch of stuff. And then my son was going crazy. He's never gone crazy like as much as he did on Easter Sunday. I don't know what it was. Maybe he didn't like being in the narthex because this boy loves looking around in the church and stuff like that. But no, it was good. Like mass was great. We got to be in the back and comfortably sit on kind of the side, so we got to get up, and we still got to experience the mass and the Easter joy. of Sunday, and then afterwards, my wife's family, their tradition. I think I explained it on the first episode, but their tradition is that they all get together at the same house every single year, and then there is an Easter egg hunt for all the kids in the family. So like when my wife was growing up, it was them, and now that my wife and her cousins have all had kids and stuff like that, it's their turn, and so we bought an Easter basket for. So what they do actually, which is pretty cool, they do it by age. So like they release them by age group. So like the youngest kids first, and then you have like 5-minute time limit.
That's good. A head start.
Like a 2-minute, like a 2-minute like head start, and then it's the next age group, and then they get 2 minutes, and then it's the next age group, and then by the end it's like everyone's out there. So my son and his like second cousin, I guess you would call it, got to go first. They're each like 1 year old, and my son was like, we were teaching him how to do it. We probably should have taught him, like pre-taught him how to do it, but he got the hang of it. He was like picking them up and putting it in the basket, and we would go to the next egg and he'd pick them up and put it in the basket. So it was good overall. We did have a scare though, Derek. We did have a scare. So my wife's cousin, didn't cut the grass because he wanted the grass to be long so that they can hide the eggs better. So he hasn't cut the grass in like a couple of weeks, and there were like ticks. People had some ticks on them. Like there was a tick on the ground inside the house. They're like, "Oh, everyone check for ticks because there's a tick on the ground." And my wife's cousin found a tick on her. And so I don't know if you know this, Derek, but so ticks are like my nightmare. I don't know if you know this.
They're terrible. They're
like
terrible.
I think they might be like the one thing I'm scared the most of in this world. Even though they're like tiny. And I think that's why they're tiny. But like I remember a couple years ago where I'm from in Virginia Beach, we don't really have a tick problem.
Mm-hmm.
But ever since I moved up here, as you know, there's so much deer up here, right?
Yeah.
And so much like forest, up here. Like I had to like Google. I kid you not. I Googled and I like researched ticks for like 3 hours straight on my phone. It was and
talking about Lyme disease and
like it's so scary, Derek. I don't know.
No, because there's this weight with them because they could give you this terrible disease, and it's not like a normal bug where it's like they just bite you and you're like ticks are terrible, especially with kids when you find them. I remember when I was upstate New York and I worked at a preschool, and you'd have to like make sure these kids were covered up right, and if you saw a tick, you had to inform the parents. It was a terrible. Those things are rotten
so scary,
things.
especially in this area. There's a lot of ticks in this area.
You were talking about the releasing the kids out. Like what they did, which is really smart. It's really great to hear some of these stories too, so other parents can hear like, that's kind of a good idea. Maybe we should try that. The one thing, we went over to our neighbor's house after all of our kind of like our dinner, and we went over there, and they have this great tradition that the grandparents they would go to, I think, Mexico, and when they'd come back, it would be right around Easter time. They had so many grandkids at this point. They had 20 where it didn't make sense to hide Easter eggs. So they were trying to figure out a way to have kind of like a family get together at Easter and let the kids get candy, but they didn't have enough eggs. So what they would do, because they were coming from Mexico, they brought a piñata. And so their tradition has been Easter Sunday is a piñata. And
that's really cool.
And so we were over there, and we've done it a couple years with them. And it's just so much fun because all the candy's in the piñata, and you start with the youngest kid, and you work your way up, and then once it gets through the kids, it's the adults' turns too. And so
nice.
you get the blindfold on, and of course the guys, the dads are like spinning each other. Yeah. My friend Mark, he spun me at least like 20 times. Like he was counting to 3, but he was spinning me like 5 times each. And I was like, it was so bad. It was a unicorn this year, and I was able to knock its head off. I kind of punched it, but it was still going. So you have to keep going until, how piñatas are. You got to keep going until all the guts are spread everywhere.
Yeah, dude.
So that is, I think, a brilliant tradition that a family has created, which is its own unique thing, and it's a way that cool. The families can kind of, do that stuff together. And it's really cool. And as a kid, too, one of the traditions that we did, which I was talking to my mom about, we went, during Lent, we would go every morning to daily mass. And then the Holy Week was it would drain us because we would go to Easter Vigil and Easter Sunday Mass. And it just took, my mom she's like, yeah, I know we don't have to go, but it's really awesome. So we're going to go. And it was like, Holy Week was always, as a kid, you're like, oh my gosh, and we were the basic only altar servers in Forestville, New York. So we had to serve all the time. And it was
my goodness,
dude. It was,
oh man.
It was the gauntlet. You just had to run that thing.
If you survive that, you indeed get like an Easter
anything
basket.
is easier after
Definitely.
that.
No wonder you guys
Anything.
did the
It
Easter
gives you
basket,
the
you know? So that's a little incentive to just survive. Just survive.
I was so that is cool. So what I'm curious. Do you have a favorite memory from Easter?
Yeah, I mean, so probably Sunday Mass, Easter Sunday Mass, in the morning, and then there was this huge field at our parish.
Okay.
So there would be like 1 million Easter eggs, and all the kids after Mass would line up one by one, and the line was probably like 100 feet tall, you know, or 100 feet long, like sideways.
Yeah.
And then someone would shoot like an air horn or like, you know, something, and you would just like run out, and it was like every kid for themselves, you know.
Oh,
and,
it sounds like the Hunger Games.
It was kind of like that. And I just remember like so much joy in just like finding eggs, and some eggs would have money in them, and some eggs would, you know, just have chocolate, and it was just so much fun, like being a kid, and wanting like, and now that I'm a parent, like wanting that for my son, you know, like wanting him to just enjoy Easter, but also like just know like the real reason of Easter. You know, it's kind of like Christmas. It's like, yeah, we do get presents and stuff like that.
Exactly.
But we got to remember like what Christmas is all about, you know,
and
not forget that. And luckily, Easter in the secular world, I've noticed hasn't got the Christmas treatment in terms of like, you know, Christmas is all about presents and, you know, gift cards and, you know.
And there's so much prep before it too that, I mean, the companies really hit hard.
Oh yeah. Easter's like, it's whatever, you know, when Easter to us is like, you know, the biggest day of the year.
This is everything for us. If
this is
without
like
the resurrection, this is nonsense.
Exactly. So
yeah,
how about your memories? Do you have a favorite memory?
You know, my ones that stand out, I have two, and they're back from when I was like a kid. The one, it's a deeply disheartening story, but we in our old house, what I talked about when we lived in Amherst, which is like a rural area. One of the Easters, it was my brother and I. It was I think just the two of us, and we got baby ducklings for Easter. They were like in our basket or something like that. Live baby ducklings, the cutest little ducklings ever. And we were so excited, John. Like we took these, we were like, we have ducklings, and it was amazing. So the absolute joy. So we were outside in the front yard running around and, you know, holding it. And we were just kids just running around. But my brother Nathan, man, he was running with his duck Easter morning.
No.
We're all excited, and he trips.
Oh no!
That joy ended very fast.
Oh my goodness!
It was
how old were you guys again?
I mean, he was probably 4 or 5. I mean, it was enough to do serious damage.
That's
psychologically.
Serious, like psychological damage.
Oh my goodness!
Right there.
So the duck just didn't make it. You know?
No, definitely not.
It was. I mean, it was a great lesson. Don't run with scissors, and don't run with baby ducklings.
Exactly.
Because both end in tears. And then probably, I mean, on the other note, the one Easter, we came down. This is when we were at the farm, and my mom was like, okay, the Easter Bunny hid something really special, and you guys need to hurry up and find these things. And we're like, what is it? She's like, look for paper bags. So they were like these little paper bags, and we pick it up and we open it, and it was the cutest little baby chick, you know? And we're like, oh, and she's like, yeah, I think there's 6 of them, so hurry up and find them. And we were like, and we'd open up like the microwave, and there'd be one in there. We're like, Mom, what is this? And there's one in the oven, and there's one in the refrigerator. And so she wanted to make sure we found it really quick.
Oh my gosh.
So all those, they grew up and they lived. We didn't run around with them. Great. But those were some memories that really stood out to me as a kid. Cool. It was always this excitement of we go down the stairs and like, what's going to happen? And it was always awesome. I, you know, part of me now looking back enjoyed the epic nature of Holy Week, where it's like, this is it, man. We got to buckle down. This is where men are made. You know, you got to make it through these masses and all these.
Right.
So I think those were some of my favorite Easter memories.
Nice. Very cool. Let's wrap up on Easter just so we can do a quick thing at the end. Your thoughts on the Easter Bunny, Derek? I don't know how you feel about the Easter Bunny growing up. Some may see them as innocent and very cool. Some may see them as evil in a way. How do you feel, or what are your thoughts on the Easter Bunny, especially like yourself, but also for your kids as well?
This was a very important topic to me this week because I was really thinking about this. And I really wanted to talk about this. And yeah, is Easter Bunny, as a parent, you're always, and it's the same thing with Santa Claus, right? What is the main reason for the season, and what is, because if the kids are just like, yeah, the Easter Bunny, I mean, we're getting a watered down religion given to our children, just saying like, we're excited for the Easter Bunny. And I can see it. And I've had this discussion with people where they said, it's really, really mean to lie to your children. It's terrible. And especially if you have that foundation of like, well, if this isn't true and this isn't true, then what other stuff are you telling me that's a lie that you're just... So it's always... And as a kid, I remember like early on, first of all, I want a shout out to my mom and dad for always doing an incredible job on, like, I appreciated so much the amount of effort they did to have us have this joy and excitement, like this kind of magical, mythical thing. One year my dad had this, he put rabbit poop on the ground in our living room.
That's selling it. That is selling it right there.
And it was at that point, I already knew at that point, I'm like, okay, I know this is, I already knew that it wasn't real. I was like, wow, my dad is hardcore into this. And, as an older child, you want to make sure your younger siblings have that fun. There's that important transition. If you can transition as a child into saying like, okay, I know that these things, don't have as much weight as I initially thought when I was a kid. You can help with your younger siblings enjoy that time. And to me, I felt like I was so excited because I felt like I was ushered into this getting to be an adult thing where it's like, okay, you can help us now with this. The parents saying that to their kids, like, you can help us make this season, exciting for your siblings too, this kind of fun magic thing. And it is tough because in a way you are telling a story that isn't true. And it's difficult because I don't know how or when to express when this isn't true. It's a tough thing. And I never had that discussion with my parents ever. My mom and dad about, with Santa or Easter Bunny or any, I never had that discussion with them. And it was this thing you kind of find out and you're like, oh, okay. And it never comes up. So right now we always have, like we talked about earlier, we have the early part of the season, that Christmas is about Jesus coming into the world. And it's this gift to us. And, we're going to honor him. And he came from such a humble, lowly stature. And then Easter, we know that this is the resurrection. This is so important to our faith. And the other things are always secondary or third. I would even say third, because we have like the family tradition is a big part of it. And then after that is kind of like Santa's coming and the Easter Bunny. And it's tough because I understand parents that are like, I'm not going to lie to my kids ever. And, and it's this thing of like, I don't know what the correct way to transition to that talk with your kids, and I think that's something that's just going to happen with time. But that's the thing that kind of is tough for me is how do I go out of that time in our life and how do I gracefully transition with my kids on that? Right. So I think it's fun right now, and we just want to reassure them that the religion that we're teaching them, the belief in God, these are true things, and these are the main parts. The other things should be secondary. We're always like, remember, this isn't about this. This is something fun that we do. And we don't want to ever, if they ask me point blank about it, I'm going to answer them truthfully. I'm not going to prolong a lie if they kind of guess onto things. But we always hammer home the true meaning of the season. So,
right.
I mean, my thoughts on the Easter Bunny, I think it's a fun, innocent thing. That was one of the early things that I caught on to as a kid. I'm like, this is kind of ridiculous, and I never hated or was upset at my parents for anything like that because it made sense to me. I'm like, oh, I get it, and that was really fun while it lasted. What are your thoughts on it, John? I wanted to know because you again. It's always fun when you're starting your new family.
Yeah.
And it's like, what kind of traditions and how are we going to manage some of these things?
I think that's where I'm at, though, in terms of like, I'm starting a lot of new traditions in my family because growing up we didn't have those traditions, so it's like, do I not have them, or now that I have my family I can do whatever I want technically. Growing up we never believed in the Easter Bunny. Like my parents never put importance on the Easter Bunny,
Yeah.
and so like it wasn't this, because I feel like the Easter Bunny in a way is almost like Santa Claus, like you were saying, in terms of like the Easter Bunny's coming, gonna leave a bunch of eggs. I kind of always knew that all the adults left the eggs,
Yeah. It just was a normal thing.
It just was like the normal thing. It wasn't like anything we thought of. It wasn't like I don't know if I was not exposed to it, but I never I barely saw the Easter Bunny like in costume like I did Santa. Like when Santa Claus was in costume and came around, it was amazing. It was like this, it was like,
well, because
oh my
I wonder how many
goodness.
people. Yeah, when you see, that Easter, like even as a kid, you're like, that is a terrible. There's no way that's the Easter Bunny. You know instantly.
Exactly.
Because
the
Santa Claus, though, you have that tie-in with Saint Nicholas, which we do have the Saint Nicholas feast day, and we talk about Saint Nicholas a lot, the actual person. But you're right, like with Santa, when you see that, it's like this is more believable. It's like that, it's a little bit deeper into the lore and mythos of being a child. Like this one is more believable. But
yeah, I don't know. Exactly right. I don't know. Growing up, we just
what your wife? What is Fatima like? Have you guys had a discussion about?
We see. This is the thing. We've never had a discussion about whether we should tell them the Easter Bunny exists or whatever. So I think these are great things. I don't know if hopefully parents are in my shoes in terms of like starting their own traditions or keeping their traditions or whatever, and just like. I think communication in marriage is key. Like they always say that, and just like have conversations with your wife or with your spouses of just like, hey, like our kids are really young. My kids are really young. I have like a 2-week-old and a 1-year-old, and it's like, okay, like we got to think of, we've never thought about these things. I'm sorry. I've always been the kind of guy, like when it comes, it comes, or like when the moment comes, it'll just come. Mm-hmm. But I think it's important for some things to talk about with your spouses in terms of, hey, like Easter Bunny, do we put importance on Easter Bunny in a way like to make it fun, or do we just, hey, this is what we do, and I think part of it has to do with your own family and with what you guys do. But also look at the bigger picture and like what your extended family, if you go to your extended family or if you go to your neighbor's house, kind of being on the same page. Yep. Maybe they don't do it, or they do it. And I think it's just a conversation I guess my wife and I will have to have,
Yeah, and I think that's a really awesome thing that you can be like open to that, because it's something that you guys didn't have.
I'm definitely open to those Easter baskets. Heck yes, let's do those.
I mean, and it can be fun. I mean, and that's the thing. Like, some of this is fun where you don't need to have the Easter Bunny at all involved in this stuff. It can just be the parent, and that's fine. And I do understand, and I totally give people, like, if you decide not to do that, I understand all the reasons why you wouldn't do it. But, and you're right, like, communication is a big part of it, and understanding your family and how it works. If you know it's going to be a problem with your family, it's probably the best thing not to do, and to force your own thoughts of like, well, I want to do it. Even my wife doesn't want to do it, but I still want to do it. There should be a compromise that you'll be able to, flesh out. And that's the great thing. Like, Bethany has been really, she's just been open to trying out these kind of traditional things. And we're bringing things from her family from California and my family from New York. And it's nice to see like hybrids of things. And when you hear other family stories, it's like, oh, that is kind of, an interesting approach to that. And maybe that's something we can apply. So, I think it's good. I think that's good. So I think we come to the conclusion that it's not evil completely if you're just purposely.
I mean,
I think
are there movies that depict the Easter Bunny evil? There probably are. But
oh my gosh, yeah. There's
like I don't have nightmares about the. I've always seen the what's that game, Derek? It's a really popular game with kids now. Five Nights at Freddy. Have you ever heard or seen this game, Derek?
Yeah,
there's like a bunny in there with like sharp teeth and like evil eyes or whatever. That's the evil bunny that I always see nowadays.
My one friend, John McCoy, he has a
I like that guy.
He's know
cool.
him?
Yeah, I know him.
You know John?
I served at a retreat with him one time.
He's gonna be at our retreat on.
Oh, he dressed up
Sunday.
as a cockroach. Yeah. I remember that,
dude.
Yeah,
he's gonna be at our retreat this weekend. Anyways, he has a movie. It's like a B film slasher horror thing that they just released in March. It's called Easter Sunday, and the guy wears this Easter bunny mask. And they actually have it in production. I think you can find it on Amazon. I haven't seen it. I can't think it's the most religious thing, but I think it's cool that his talents for the film stuff is gone with that. But now whenever I think of like the Easter Bunny stuff, I think of this B slasher film, with it's a very tongue-in-cheek thing. So it's really funny. So
nice.
But dude, hey, thank you for sharing your stuff with Easter
it was good.
traditions.
Thank you I think it's great to have these conversations, like especially to see what other families do and incorporate. Because I can tell you, like, every time I see something cool that a family does, I'm like, that's really cool. Like, let me talk to my wife and see, if we can like incorporate that.
So. I know as a parent, to me, it's really fun to have these times of preparation with your spouse, especially for your children, when you are like sitting down and loading up eggs together, or like getting the baskets ready, and even Christmas presents. Like, it's a great time for you and your spouse one-on-one to just be like, it's a very fun, very special time. And because you're on the same page and you're helping, it's a fun thing for your children. There's a lot of preparation and work together. And I think it is very good for spouses to have this time where they can sit down and like kind of help plan some magic for your kids. It's a really wonderful time to have that kind of mind meld with your significant other. So I know we really enjoy it. My wife puts so much effort into it, and she's fantastic at it. And our children, they're happy the day of and the next day because of it, and it's really fun to see that.
I like the fact that your children get so excited for Easter. Where I don't think I've ever been like excited for. I think because we never had like other than the mass and the Easter egg hunt afterwards. Mm-hmm. Easter wasn't really like a all day thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and like there was events like all the time. Like, now that I'm married to my wife and she has her like family thing, and I think our kids growing up, I think it's gonna be awesome just having this time to like have fun with them on Easter. Mm-hmm. As long as we remember, of course, the reason for Easter and why. And
it's
so
turned
joyous.
In our household. It's turned into like the next. It's like the big Christmas thing, and it's nice that it's almost 6 months apart. Where each year you have this big celebration, an important life moment in the church, and I as a kid was somewhat excited because we'd have to find our stuff, but my kids are on a different level with how excited they are because the build up and they're reading their Bible stories and they're seeing like. And to hear a child explain what Easter is a really beautiful and precious thing. And as long as it doesn't start with, it's about the Easter Bunny. That's our main goal. As long as they can talk about that, then we've done okay as parents.
Exactly. Ladies and gentlemen, how about this, Derek? We'll save our first ever Bad Catholic Dad bracket challenge for next week or for whenever for another podcast episode. We went a little long today for the Easter, but that's perfectly fine because we are so joyous and we are celebrating the season of Easter now that Christ is risen. Can I get an Alleluia, Derek?
Alleluia, brother.
Alleluia. Derek, let's get right into the ending. Let's do our shout outs. Do you have any shout outs to give, Derek?
Shout out to my mother-in-law, Marcel Zuniga. She listened to our episodes and she sent me a Facebook message and she said she absolutely loved them.
That's awesome.
And that's really good. And then again, shout out to Mark. He's listened to each one of these.
What's up?
He's been trying to get me to eat sushi. I might have a sushi outing. Maybe we should have a sushi outing sometime.
We should have a Bad Catholic Dad sushi. I love sushi, Derek. Wherever you guys go, let me know. I'm totally
because
down.
that could be a really good time.
Totally down.
And then shout out to the Spearing family for helping, letting us jump into some of their family Easter traditions.
Did you hear my daughter in the background? I don't know if you
I did a little bit. I'm
burping.
Do you want to do the shout out for the Twitter?
Yeah. I want to shout out William Wyckoff on Twitter, who is now, congratulations to him, became
that's
Catholic,
really exciting.
At St. Mark in Vienna on Saturday for the vigil. He says, really enjoying the show. Nice to hear a younger voice in an often older crowd. So, we're young, and so we're glad we can give you that. Really, we're just figuring it out, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Derek more than me, of course. So shout out to you, William, and congratulations on becoming Catholic. I know so many converts say that, honestly, of course, we love Easter, but to converts, Easter is a very special
it is
day in their entire lives. It's one of the most beautiful days, and it's them coming into the church. I actually had 2 students of mine come into the church on Saturday, so I want to shout out them. So congratulations to everyone becoming Catholic on a Saturday at the vigils, and we're so glad you're part of this great family. Part of this great church. I want to shout out. We got some iTunes reviews. Or
Sweet.
do you have any other shout-outs?
No.
Other than so we got some iTunes or a review on iTunes. So if you go to iTunes, either the podcast app on your iPhone. If you don't have an iPhone, you can go to iTunes. Like if you have the iTunes app on your computer or the application on your computer, you can search up Bad Catholic Dads, hit the review tab, leave us a review. It really helps out the podcast because the more stars we get, the more popular it's going to get, the more shows on people's when they search anything that's Catholic, or if they go to the religion and spirituality genre, it'll pop up, especially if we have more reviews. But if you want to leave us a review, please do on iTunes or on the podcast app if you have an iPhone. We got a review from my good friend Vania J6. She says the show is great. She says this show has two great down-to-earth hosts.
Yeah.
The episodes are inspiring and fun. Be sure to listen to their vocation stories. So I'm sure she really enjoyed our vocation stories. So shout out to you and thank you so much for your review, and thank you so much to everyone who's been listening to our podcast. It's been I don't know, it's a great surprise, I guess you can say, Derek.
Yeah,
that people are like,
absolutely. And five episodes in, I'm really proud. 5 episodes. Really.
They don't say
Good job.
Say you're a real podcast when you make it to 10, Derek. So
all right,
we're halfway there. Halfway there. $10 patron shout outs, Wabi Sabi Stories. If you support us on Patreon for $10, we shout you out officially on the podcast. So Wabi Sabi Stories is sponsoring us at $10 a month on Patreon. If you like anything, they are a video podcast or a podcast that they tell stories of how people came to be, or how stories that made people who they are today. Check them out on YouTube at Wabi Sabi Stories. And you can find us on YouTube if you want to listen to the podcast. Find us on iTunes or the podcast app. Find us on SoundCloud and Google Play. I don't use Google Play. I use SoundCloud and the iTunes. But if you have a Google phone or you like Google Play, check us out on there. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter, Instagram, of course. Follow our social media. Derek, we would love to chat with you guys. Tell us your favorite Easter memories. Tell us anything you guys want, any comments, questions, or concerns. We'd love to shout you out on the podcast and get your questions on here. Because remember, we're not trying to convert you. We're trying to converse with you. Right, Derek?
Oh, and you know what? With that, we need to ask them about a book. Should we ask them about a book?
Yeah, go ahead, Derek. Go ahead and explain the first official, I like to call it the Bad Catholic Dads Book Club. Go ahead and explain it to them what that is. It's
like, whoa, we could almost add another D, right? It'd be BCD, BC. Yeah, it could be Bad Catholic Dads Book Club Discussion. It's like
book club discussion. BCD.
There you go.
How about BCD squared? Let's call it BCD squared.
Yeah,
Bad Catholic Dad
for all you squares out there that are still reading books.
Book club. Yeah.
We're gonna be.
So what is it?
We're gonna be reading. We want to have your input about a book that John and I can read, and we would love to read along with you. We would like to start it in a month. So if you have any ideas about a book that maybe we should look into, I mean, we something not so heavy. That other people can maybe jump in, maybe like a C.S. Lewis. Maybe there's one that you would like, oh, this is a great one that I read. If you can send us out just any ideas, we would love to pick up a copy and read it, and we would offer encouragement for you to read along with us.
Yeah, read it with us.
Whenever your time is available for the months, it's really great to go back to reading books. A lot of the times we listen to audio tapes. If that's what you're going to do in the car, do that. But we would love to have a discussion on a fantastic book. So please send us an idea of a book, and we look over them and just pick one, and then we'll let you all know what we're reading, and you can join in on that.
Yeah, we'll put a hard date. That way you'll hopefully finish when we finish, and then we'll have an episode discussion on it, and maybe you can send in your questions or your review on the book, and we could just talk about the book. It'll be great. So definitely follow us on Twitter for that one, okay? And then, of course, last but not least, follow us on Patreon. If you want to support us, it really helps the show out. It helps out the show become better. We would love your support. If not, remember, everything is free here on Bad Catholic Dads. So just follow us all these social media and on iTunes and SoundCloud and all that. Other than that, anything else, Derek?
That's it. I'm just excited to be in this celebration season right now.
Ooh, let's celebrate. Till next week, guys. Happy Easter again. Remember, it is still Easter. We are in the season of Easter. Easter is not just one day. So, contrary to popular belief. But so happy Easter, and we hope you have a good one. We'll see you next week, guys. Bye.